Hello, good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. This bulletin is coming to you live from our studios here at Kokomlemle in a Crown digital address GA0993341 on Joy 99.7 FM. It's also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, affiliates across the country on ABN Radio in London and around the world at myjoyonline.com. The news is brought to you by Telisol 4G. Just a touch. Coming up, President Akufo-Addo settles on Techiman as regional capital for Bunu East. We'll get reactions from youth of Nkoranza who had kicked against the selection of that town. Meanwhile, government condemns acts of lawlessness in Salaga. Also in this package, Joy News uncovers how the Tamale Teaching Hospital awarded a contract to supply drugs of over 200,000 cedis without due process.
You know, I'm a pharmacist. I don't award contracts. What I do is to provide technical advice. All I do as a director of pharmacy, right, is to provide technical advice.
We'll hear from the former director of pharmacy at the hospital who is at the heart of the controversy, and CD records marginal appreciation against the dollar, trading this morning at around 5 cedis 8 pesos. But there's still growing concerns about the cedi's free fall. We'll do some analysis. And in sports,
Kumasi Asante Kotoko have received massive backing to beat Zambian club Zesco United this afternoon in their first home match of the CAF Confederation Cup. Blasters assistant coach Ibrahim Tanko has got thoughts and we're bringing it to you in 15 minutes time.
And later in the bulletin,
I need to make those songs come alive.
we are live with Maestro Kojenchi as he takes us through his rehearsal session ahead of tomorrow's much anticipated Joy FM Valentine's Day Love concert. Great to have you here. The details now. Joy News has uncovered how the Tamale Teaching Hospital awarded a contract to supply drugs of over 200,000 cedis without due process. A special audit report by the hospital revealed that there was neither an evaluation exercise nor a tender committee approval for the award of the contract. A former director of pharmacy, Nicholas Ajimani, cited in the controversy has mounted a strong defense. In the second part of our hotline documentary, Robbing the Sick, Joy News' Kwetinati takes a look at more of such irregular contracts.
In the award of contracts such as these, the following must be done. A procurement approval must be sought from the Public Procurement Authority. This is followed by an evaluation of the bids of the interested parties, and a report is submitted to the Entity Tender Committee for final approval. However, in the case of the Tamale Teaching Hospital, these were not done. In a special audit of the Pharmacy and Procurement Unit of the Tamale Teaching Hospital in 2013, the procurement records reveal there was no evidence of evaluation report and a tender committee minute for the contract awarded for the supply of drugs valued at over 200,000 cedis. What this means, according to the audit, is that there was neither evaluation exercise done nor tender committee approval for all the awards. A claim that has been challenged by the man at the center of the controversy, former director of pharmacy, Nicholas Ajimani. He tells me his responsibility at the Tamale Teaching Hospital was to provide expert advice and not to award contracts.
I'm a pharmacist. I don't award contracts. What I do is to provide technical advice. Right? If you need medication, we budget, and then the budget is sent to the CEO, and then the drugs are procured for the hospital. All I do as a director of pharmacy is to provide technical advice.
According to the audit report, the examination of the award letter showed that the then director of pharmacy signed all the contract in the name of the then acting chief executive of the TTH, Dr. Prosper Akambon. It stated that the act was awfully deceitful as it was made to appear as Dr. Akambon signed the award letters, and concludes that it was administratively wrong to sign document in someone's name but the former director of pharmacy claims proper procedures were followed. He said what accounted for the lapse is that the initial supplier failed to meet its commitment.
We have a list of suppliers in the hospital. They have for non-drugs and drugs. So this list came from the list of suppliers of medication. In the first place, we didn't have enough storage space. So it is important that we procure these things in bits so that they don't expire on us and all those things. So we went through the whole process. The request came from a unit of the pharmacy called the special pharmacy. He developed the list and brought to me. So I sent the list. I requested the chief executive for approval to procure these medications because they were important. So the chief executive approved. The letter is there to show that it was approved. We took quotations from these companies. They provided samples, and a date was scheduled for us to evaluate the bid.
But minutes of an audit implementation committee meeting cited by Joy News blamed the award of contract without due process on administrative lapses caused by poor communication between the then chief executive and the Department of Pharmacy. The conclusion by the board, according to the documents, was that those transactions need to be regularized and directed the former head of pharmacy to retrieve all letters he signed from suppliers for valid ones to be signed by the chief executive of the Tamale Teaching Hospital. Reporting for Joy News, Kwetenate, Tamale.
Now, away from that, Joy News is learning President Akufo-Addo has settled on Techiman as the regional capital for the newly created Bono East region. The president is this morning issuing a constitutional instrument to give legal backing to the creation of the region. Well, as you may know, the selection of regional capitals has been marred with controversy. Last week, the chiefs and people of Nkranza traditional area accused the Minister for Regional Reorganization and Development, Dan Botwe, and his deputy, Martin J. Kosa, of working against them as government was preparing to name new regional capitals.
The chief and people of Nkranza traditional area have come to conclusion that Nkranza traditional area has been eliminated from the competition for the regional capital by the Minister of Regional Reorganization and Development. And it is therefore not surprising that even though Nananum from Nkranza traditional area have submitted a petition to the President with a copy to Honorable Minister of Regional Reorganization and Development, the Minister has claimed that he has not received petition from Nkranza. The chief and people of Nkranza traditional area consider the denial from the Minister elimination by rough tactics. We wish to remind the President and the MPP government that if the capital of the Bono East region is located at a place which does not meet the aspiration and wish of the chiefs and people in the region, we will have serious consequences and fortunes of the party in the next coming 2020.
Shortly, we'll get reactions from youth of Nkranza who had kicked against the decision to select Techiman as regional capital. But first, we are joined by presidential correspondent Elton Broby. He joins us from the Jubilee House. Elton, do we know what went into the president's decision to settle on Techiman?
Well, Benes, what I'm thinking is that a strong case was made for Techiman. Indeed, they also listened to other proposals from other towns within the Bono East enclave. And my information is that Techiman was picked because already the place is well developed. It has a very vibrant market. Techiman, already the capital of the Techiman Municipal Assembly, according to reports we are privy to, is among the top 10 assemblies in the country with high levels of internet generated factor. Already, the infrastructure is there to speed up development in the Bono East enclave. That, I'm told, informed the decision to settle on Techiman. Now, the president of the Bono Regional House of Chiefs, Penaman Yakabresi V, himself, the traditional ruler of the Nkranza traditional area, a while ago spoke on behalf of the chiefs in the enclave, and then told the president that the coalition met and decided that they will not be divided by the choice of a regional capital. Indeed, they are all behind the decision that the president will take. I shall see President Akufo-Addo is addressing the country, and then very soon, officially, he will announce Techiman as the capital of the Bono East, region.
Thank you, Elton Broby, there joining us from the Jubilee House. That ceremony is still underway, where President Akufo-Addo is issuing a constitutional instrument to give legal backing to the creation of the Bono East region. Well, let's go onto the line now again and speak to correspondent Precious Semevo. He's at Nkranza now, and he reports that there's some presence of police in the area, as well as some key locations at the Nkranza South MPP constituency office. Hello, Precious.
Yes, hello, Benny.
Tell us more about the mood in Nkranza as we speak.
Well, the mood relatively is calm. Everybody is going about his or her daily, duties. It doesn't really show that something is happening, except that almost every vehicle, there is the sound of the president as he speaks currently, or those who are working also have earpieces, also listening to what is happening. I also moved to the various palaces, the Queen Mother's Palace, the Chief's Palace, as well as the Electoral Commission, the police station, and other locations. Police presence is heavily felt there, an indication that the police is ready should the youth decides to, agitate. The police are ready to contain them.
Precious Semevo joining us from Nkranza. Earlier, spokesperson for the youth of Nkranza for Bono East Creation called on President Akufo-Addo to suspend the announcement of the regional capital of Bono East today. Collins Oseipunsu spoke on News Desk on Multi TV.
They had a meeting at Sunyane last week Thursday. They invited all the traditional areas who were vying for the regional capital. Nkranza Traditional Council was never invited. Why would Atebubu, which is 1 hour 45 minutes drive from Nkranza, have their invitation letter? While Nkranza, which is very close to East Sunyane, will not have an invitation letter. If indeed the sector minister and the deputy minister are not working against people of Nkranza, we have spoken to our youth. We know the president is a listening government. Because of the demonstration that the Traditional Council had, and the petition we know has gotten to the presidency. We did the demonstration. We have asked our youth to remain resolute, to remain very calm, and very law-abiding. We don't want the incidents that happened at Sarada to replicate at Nkranza. We are very law-abiding citizens, a very peaceful community. We are waiting on the president to act on the petition and, if even possible, suspend the naming of the Bono East Regional Capital today.
Well, clearly the president didn't heed that call. Let's take you now to the Jubilee House, even as President Akufo-Addo addresses those there.
To serve better the needs of the people from these new regions through the effective and efficient reorganization and distribution of our public services and infrastructure. With the coalition from Bono East described by the Broadway Commission as, quote, one of the most organized, unquote, I appeal to you to support government's efforts in developing the new region. Within 1 week of the declaration of the results of the referendum, I constituted a 7-member government committee chaired by the dynamic and sagacious Minister for Regional Reorganization and Development, the Honorable Dan Butcher MP, with the Minister for Planning, the Honorable Jan Bafo MP, the Minister for Local Government and Rural Development, the Honorable Alima Mahama MP, the Minister for Special Development Initiatives, the Honorable Mavis Hawa Kumson MP, the Minister for Finance, Kenu Furiata, the Minister for National Security, Albert Kandapaya, and the Presidential Advisor, Dr. Kwame Akotufo, as members to plan and oversee the rapid development of Bono East. In the President's 2019 budget statement, an amount of 20 million cedis has been allocated as seed capital for Bono East to help in the establishment of the needed infrastructure for the smooth takeoff of the region. I know one of the concerns of the coalition in Bono East had to do with, quote, appointments to government positions and feelings of marginalization. You will thus be glad to know that soon you will have your own minister hailing from Bono East. Until the appointment of a substantive regional minister for Bono East, I have asked the current regional minister for Bono East, for Brong-Ahafo, the Honorable Evans Opokubo MP, to act as caretaker minister.
President Akufo-Addo there speaking live from the Jubilee House. Meanwhile, the Northern Regional Security Council is preparing to meet over rioting by some youth in Salaga yesterday following the announcement of Damongo as regional capital of the Savannah region. 7 people are currently in custody. Minister for Regional Reorganization and Development, Dan Butchie, has condemned the violence.
It is therefore very surprising that in one of the 6 petition areas where they themselves on their own had such consultation and sensitization, we witnessed yesterday, after such a beautiful program, the act of lawlessness in Salaga. We condemn this. We are told that about 7 people have been arrested and they are looking for the others. And it's our firm belief that the law would deal with such people.
You heard the Minister for Regional Reorganization and Development, Dan Butchie. Now, a man who is believed to be a driver named George Atufo was nearly lynched this morning at Takrade after his supposed Senegalese wife named Khadija accused him of kidnapping his own children. According to the police, the man had a disagreement with his wife after he expressed his intention of leaving her. He picked up his 2 daughters this morning and his wife raised the alarm of kidnapping. Now, a mob reportedly accosted the man and nearly lynched him, but for the timely intervention of the police. You had the woman who's part of a crowd that besieged the police in Ifiekuma police in police station in Takrade this morning. And Nathalia Kwanza was there. She joins us on the line. Ina, just help us understand what this woman's concern is.
Yeah, so this woman is saying that they saw the woman screaming that she has been kidnapped. So she doesn't understand why they have to get to the police station, and then the police will tell them that they are a wife and a husband with these kids. So they need an explanation from the woman herself. They want the police to bring the woman out to come and tell them that indeed that is her husband, because these kidnappers in the region, they are all frustrated. Everyone is scared. So the police just can't tell them that, and then they think they would buy into their speech.
So, Ina, is it that as we speak, the crowd is still at the Ifiekuma police station?
Now, the crowd has reduced a bit, but as of now, I am at the regional headquarters to find out from the police if indeed what they are saying is true. But I spoke to the regional PRO earlier. They were in a meeting, but when I came, I spoke to her and she said, yes, they are, that is the husband and the wife. So she will give me details as to what really happened and what they are doing about this. Because this is not the first time someone is raising a false alarm in the metropolis that there is a kidnapping here.
Thank you, Ina Thalia Kwanza there joining us from Takrade. Now, the Ghana Immigration Service says it has apprehended scores of Nigerians resident in Bujumbura in the central region who are living in the country illegally. Now, this comes after a video showing some Nigerians accosting personnel of the service went viral.
Police.
Now, the video of which sound you're hearing shows scores of Nigerians shouting at the Ghana Immigration Service personnel who were conveyed to the Kaswa district. According to the GIS, the operation was carried out last week Thursday at the Blue Rose Estate in Bujumbura, where most of the West African nationals reside. Amakwata is Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Immigration Service, and he tells Joy News the Nigerians are residing in the country without documentation.
On the 7th of February, our officers on the tip-off went to the Blue Rose Estates in Bujumbura, and that there were some Nigerians who were there. So they went there to try to confirm on their immigration status. but then they tried to prevent our officers from conducting that operation, and they used blocks and other implements to prevent them from driving into the estate. If you recall, from the last part of last year, the last quarter, we've been embarking on such swoops in certain identified localities in the country where we based on intelligence, we know are patronized by non-Ghanaian citizens engaged in various immigration offenses, and it's a follow-up to what we have been doing. And in fact, just last week, about 37 of them were arrested in that same vicinity and have been removed from the country. So on this call, we also believe that they were part of those who are here with that documentation. It is true most of them are here with that documentation, are also engaged in such criminal activities that is against the security of the country. In fact, when the incident happened, looking at the numbers of those in the estate, our men had to tactically withdraw back to the office, and we are assessing the situation. At appropriate time, we will know what to do.
You heard that Mwakwata. He is PRO of the Ghana Immigration Service. You're listening to the Midday News on Joy 99.7 FM. Still to come, Prophet threatens to overthrow the Akufo-Addo-led administration spiritually over what he claims is the government's agenda to destroy businesses.
They are destroying people's businesses since they came into power by reason of political partisanship. And I put it to them, they must stop. Otherwise, some of us will remove them spiritually, and it will happen in the physical.
And later in the bulletin,
I need to make those songs come alive.
we are live with Maestro Kojenchi as he takes us through his rehearsal session ahead of tomorrow's much anticipated Joy FM Valentine's Day Love Concert.
Push a mother who has a master's degree, a promotion letter as HR manager, and works in a prestigious firm to leave her job, her baby. Rashida Osafo could not leave her 3-month-old daughter with teachers, so she decided to start a breakfast hamper business to make time for her family.
I even went to school to upgrade myself, and then I had a master's degree in human resource, which I was to go for a promotion in my job. But then, however, after I had my certificate, I realized that working for somebody wasn't helping me. So that's why I had to quit.
Join the Joy Business Van and take the leap that could transform your life. The Joy Business Van, this Wednesday. The Joy Business Van is on radio, TV, and online, and sponsored by EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
In the second part of the Joy News Expose on extortions at the Tamale Teaching Hospital, how drugs costing over 100,000 cedis are unaccounted for. Robbing the Sick 2, Thursday, 14th February on Hotline on the Super Morning Show. Hotline is brought to you by
Melco, where Ghana shops.
Thanks for staying on the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. It's now time for sports. Hello, Ridwan.
Yes, it's match day in Kumasi, and Asante Kotoko are in need of a win this afternoon against Zesco United from Zambia to revive their campaign in the CAF Confederation Cup. Now, it's their first home match in Group C, and the Pokemon Warriors want to bounce back after losing 1-0 to Al Hilal of Sudan some 8 days ago. Black Stars assistant coach Ibrahim Tanko is in Kumasi to watch the game, and he believes Kotoko have the credentials to start their home campaign with a win.
In terms of fitness, I mean, they are up to the standard and quality-wise as well. So I hope that they are going to get the 3 points here.
Zesco, we know their pedigree on the African continent, and the little that you know about them, what do you think Asante Kotoko must do to ensure they get a good result here?
Yeah, well, I think they won their first game against Nkana at home, and Kotoko lost in Sudan. So I think in this kind of group stage, you have to win your home match.
Ibrahim Tanko is Black Stars assistant coach. Let's get to Kumasi now, where Benedict is covering the game for us. Benedict, quickly, how's the momentum like in Kumasi? Are we going to have a stadium filled capacity like we did see in the game against Kariobangi Sharks?
I don't think so. I mean, the buzz, the euphoria prior to the game against Kariobangi Sharks as well as the Cotton Sport is not the same as this one. Probably maybe it's because you are playing this one in midweekend. We are still not used to, playing big games on midweek. But it will be difficult to get a full house based on what I've seen since I got into town. Yesterday, they are training. The fans came, but it wasn't as massive as that of the Cotton Sport Garoua game.
Benedict also joining us there from the Garden City in Kumasi. There's Kids Olympics coming up this Saturday. Taekwondo, football, and then table tennis, Lincoln, and then St. Anthony's Anglican Church. Your kid will be informed as to how she is or he is to compete.
Thank you, Redwan Asante. Now, the city began the year at 4.92 pesos, and as of this minute, it's at 5 cities 20 pesos, raising fears that depreciation is likely to continue, a situation which has dire consequences for traders, importers, and the general public. But what is really driving this recent depreciation rate? Raymond Aqua joins me with some answers.
Now, let's start with the fact that on the external front, we know the U.S. economy and also the dollar continue to strengthen. We also know that the risk-averse investors are not investing in developing countries like Ghana. Again, donor inflows usually, which is in the absence of regular sources, come in handy to shore up the currency. Mostly comes in the second quarter, which we are not yet there. And if you also look at the gross international reserves, which provides an outlook on the import cover and also currency management, we've seen some reduction from 7.5 billion in 2017 to 6.9 in 2018. If you look at the net international reserve, all of these suggest that even though pumping dollars into the system is being absorbed, and maybe with time, as the cyclical moves determine, this may be corrected over the period. Of course, we also have to take note of a very simple development. We know that in the same period last year, we were looking at 1.52% within the same period, as we are having 4.88 now. It was 1.52% rate of depreciation of in fact, that was even an appreciation rather. So last year was appreciating. This year it was depreciating within the same period.
Thank you, Raymond Akwada, with details. Now, the recent job losses triggered by the collapse of some banks has attracted the anger of a popular man who says it's all a government agenda to destroy local businesses. Founder and leader of the Glorious Wave Church International, Prophet Emmanuel Betukobi says he will overthrow the Akufo-Addo-led administration spiritually if this development does not stop. He's warning that if government doesn't change, he will strike. Listen.
Now for Ghana, some things are happening, and I'm the best person to tell them they are wrong. And I use this medium to speak to the leader of the nation, Nana Akufo-Addo, who is the president, that from today, if they don't understand governance, they must go and learn. They are destroying people's businesses since they came into power by reason of political partisanship. And in my day, you don't spoil anybody's business. If they came for the nation to be better, as they said, then they must change. Because most businesses are on their knees because of their parochial political partisanship stand. And I put it to them, they must stop. Otherwise, some of us will remove them spiritually, and it will happen in the physical.
Prophet Emmanuel Betukobi is founder and leader of the Glorious Wave Church International. Now, the excitement is heightening for what some have dubbed the biggest love concert, Joy FM's Lovers Dinner Dance, with the maestro Kojenchi, who is promising to thrill patrons with music that connects their heart. He tells my colleague Nancy Emefatradosi, who's been to his rehearsal session, it's not an event to be missed.
The maestro Kojenchi with his band adding finishing touches to the rehearsals ahead of Joy FM's Lovers Dinner Dance. The energy, the soothing voice, he's already setting the tone for tomorrow's event. His amazing backup singers fine-tuning their voice to make your night unforgettable. The drums, the guitars, the keyboards, and finally, the instrument that connects with the soul, the saxophone. All these brewed in the love pot just for you and your partner. Don't forget the maestro will perform the songs you wish for.
I need to make those songs come alive. The words that are deep, people are now going to feel it, because Thursday, 14th of February is giving me the opportunity to mount the stage and do something different.
Well, if you haven't grabbed your tickets yet, please do so now. Tickets are selling fast at the front desk of Joy FM, but singles and couples. And you can also call this number 0544 336 512, 0544 336 512 for reservations. Do so early so you can enjoy this year's Valentine's Day. That's how we end this edition of the Midday News on Joy 99.7 FM. I am Benes Abubedu Lansa.